Welcome to the FiveStack here on Substack. My name is Dean. DeanBlundell.substack.com, 50% off annual subscriptions right now, and you can go and read all about some things that we're going to talk about today with my friend Zev Shalev, who is the curator of the Greatest Heist series. I believe it was episode 7 that just dropped. Everybody needs to go and subscribe. Is it episode 8? You on episode 8?
Am I not up to date? Episode 7. It's not out yet, but it's coming out. I've written it. It's on in front of me. It's so good that I've had to stop myself from rereading it because I like it so much. It's going to be fascinating for everybody. It's all about
you're
Donald
impressing
Trump.
yourself even. That's hard to do. Yeah. It's
like this giant puzzle. It's like, you got this huge puzzle in front of you trying to figure it out. And every time you get one of these pieces to fit into the right space, it's like, hey, hallelujah. So today's thing is all about Donald Trump and his connection to Epstein through Robert Maxwell and through the Russian mob. It is a page turner, and it'll be interesting because it's coming out at a good time, considering everything that's happened this week with Trump and Putin and Ukraine. This should be a good one.
Yeah, it wraps everything up, the Greatest Heist series. Folks, if you're just listening and watching, welcome. Please subscribe. Free or paid, doesn't matter to us. But Zev does some incredible work in the space where you cobble together really 4 decades worth of relationships and history that goes back to Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who's a notorious scouser and a criminal who stole money from pension funds, and he was a KGB agent, Mossad agent at the same time. He actually was given a hero's funeral after he died in Israel, of all places. So, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that has been going on for decades, which everybody's not aware of. And today's FiveStack is a really good example of why that context is so fucking important and so incredibly valuable to anybody who's really kind of walking through the forest of craziness, which is the Trump regime, the United States of America, Epstein's honeypot relationship, his relationship with Putin, what we saw yesterday with these EU leaders coming to town, running the box, and then promptly getting sold out this morning by Donald Trump on Fox News. So, it all really kind of starts to come together and make sense, and highly encourage everybody to go and subscribe. Zev does incredible work, as do I. Different. I don't have the attention span to do the kind of work you do. So I've got several different posts of different varieties, and we're going to talk about some of those stories today as well.
That's what I like. I like that you're a bit of yin and yang. It's all just a good balance that we do here. And like you, I have 50% off my annual subscription now, so everyone can do it right now. So
boy, good for you. Yeah, unlimited access. You get to chat with us and Diane Elser and everybody. What the heck is going on? Everybody's like, Lauren, hi, you guys are both so awesome. No, you're awesome, Lori M. Pearl.
You really are.
Yeah, you are. And listen, let's before we get into the FiveStack, we've got 5 bangers today, by the way. FBI getting a co-deputy director. We've got a sitting senator in Maine inviting Canadian politicians to commit fucking high treason. You got the DOJ investigating D.C. police now, some cocked up investigation. The return of Canada's leader of Maple MAGA, which is just a joke. And of course, Trump and his walkback of a security for the people of Ukraine that might include the troops. But before we get started, or that will help Ukraine. Let me just say this. Thank you to everybody that shows up here every day. Without you, we feel nothing. We do nothing. None of this is worth anything. It's just us screaming into the void. And the fact that hundreds and thousands of people, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds and thousands of you show up, not just to subscribe, not just to share the work that we do, not just to get affirmed and get the information that you need to be able to understand what's going on around you. But the fact that you take time out of your day, we've been on this for 3 minutes now. We've got almost 400 people watching. The fact that you take time out of your busy schedules, and the fact that we and what we do means something to you, it pales in comparison to what you mean to Zev and I, and guys like Lev and everybody that has been screaming into the void that now gets taken seriously on an app and some software that it's completely and 100% affirming for so many of us, whether it's us delivering the content or you getting the content that we do. I just wanted to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for not just sustaining our lives, but changing our lives in so many beautiful ways. The friendships, the interactions, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow with two guys that are paid subs. A guy named Nick Perro and another dude named Frederick Pogue, I
I
think is
am
his name.
excited about that one. I saw that. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be
Yeah,
good.
a couple of veterans, guys with beards, just like they're the NAFO guys, like North American Fellas Organization, right? And none of that's possible without the interaction that we have here. So, from the bottom of my heart, before we start the five stack today, thank you all for joining us
No,
today.
that's so true, Dean, and it's a game changer. Substack has been a game changer not only for you and me personally, but just a game changer for the conversation we're having around what is going on in the world every single day. Because this is
Yeah.
the one place you can get the truth. I mean, it really is. There are no other comparable social networks out there that provide you this kind of platform, this kind of freedom, and this kind of scope, which you're getting from all the great people that you've mentioned already, like Lev, Olga, all these other fantastic people that we work with. It really is an honor to be here with you today. And so let's begin the number 5 story in the countdown today. The Trump administration has appointed Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey as co-deputy director of the FBI. This is creating a position that has never existed in the Bureau's history. Bailey will share duties with current Deputy Director Dan Bongino, whose tenure has been marked by a public confrontation with Attorney General Pam Bondi over unreleased Jeffrey Epstein files. The appointment comes as the House Oversight Committee announced the Justice Department will miss today's subpoena deadline for Epstein-related documents, but will begin releasing some records, that being the operative word there, on Friday. Former Attorney General Bill Barr, testified in a closed-door deposition Monday that he saw nothing implicating Trump in Epstein's crime. So I guess we'll take his word for it because he's so good at giving us the truth.
The fact that he was the fact that he was the Attorney General when Jeffrey Epstein died, the fact that his dad hired Jeffrey Epstein at the Dalton School, the fact that this all happened under Trump's watch, the fact that Donald Trump has been told by the FBI that his name is in the Epstein files 100,000 fucking times, and the fact that Bill Barr said yesterday, and this is a great choice of words, I didn't see anything with Donald Trump related to that. I mean, you can trust none of those people at this point.
He also covered up the Iran-Contra affair, by the way. Which is not an insignificant affair to this whole thing, as we've been describing.
No, it's like the catalyst for all the shit that we're talking about. So there you go.
And he covered up Robert Mueller's investigation into Trump Russia, because basically that was his cover up too. So, this is not someone you'd go to find anything truthful about Donald Trump, but it is someone you'd go to if you wanted to cover something up. So that's why Bill Barr is probably exhibit number 1 as the GOP begin their investigation into the Epstein files. I mean, I'm still expecting a whitewash from these guys, but let's see if they get any actual FBI records from the FBI, or they're just going to get little dribs and drabs.
Well, let's deal with the co-deputy FBI director first of all, Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey is a maggot. Mr. Bailey is like a hardcore evangelical QAnon loser. Mr. Bailey is going to do the job at the same time in parallel with Dan Bongino. Now, why would they do this? Why would they decide to do this? Because Dan Bongino has seen some shit. Dan Bongino cannot unsee the shit that he saw. Dan Bongino has threatened Pam Bondi, threatened Donald Trump to tell the fucking truth about what he's doing, because he has said to everybody around him, and this is what our sources are telling us, and I'm not the only person, talked with Lev Parnas about it, heard him go on with the Voice of Ukraine today where he actually unveiled this yet again, and he's been screaming about this for like 2-3 weeks. Dan Bongino is going to be the key to getting any information that is remotely accurate, because Dan Bongino is visually, as we sit here, as we talk about it, being replaced by someone who will look the other way. Now, for all the shitty things that Dan Bongino is, Dan Bongino apparently has some type of moral compass that he's trying to stick to. Is what it looks like, right?
It's impressive. I mean, I never thought I'd ever say something nice about Dan Bongino, but here's someone who actually got principles and he's sticking to them.
Seems to be. And they've hidden him, and they're negotiating with him, negotiating his silence. And you know how Donald Trump does stuff. They're physically trying to bribe him to get back into the podcast space and stay away from certain conversations, getting into movies like he tried to do with Zelensky the other day. Literally, this is what's going on. This is what's being offered him. And in the meantime, what they're doing is they're bringing someone else in, Mr. Bailey, to take over the day-to-day duties of being, because Dan Bongino has not been to work in weeks. Dan Bongino is disgusted by what he has seen. disgusted by the Trump regime. This is what we're hearing. And he's getting ready to sing. And before he does, they need someone else to slide in there and do that job. And they need someone who is, like I said earlier, going to willingly look the other way when it comes to the world's biggest decades-long sex trafficking pedophile ring, honeypot ring, curated by Jeffrey Epstein, his associates, and a couple of different governments. And Donald Trump is definitely in those files. Now, this Friday, we're supposed to get 3 days. Counting
Well,
today.
today was supposed to get, but that never happened. So
Didn't get
let's say on Friday, they now
they've
say they're
said-
going to give us something.
Yeah, we were supposed to get some today. That deadline came and went. Now they're saying Friday we're going to get some documents. We're supposed to get all of them.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get every one. And I want everybody to remember something. And this is really important to remember. If you're not guilty, don't act like it.
Mhm.
Bill Barr gave a guilty performance behind closed doors yesterday, according to every single person on that oversight committee. Bill Barr chose his words carefully, saying he didn't see anything related to Donald Trump in what he had witnessed in that file. Didn't see anything in that what he had witnessed. He's not saying they don't exist. What he's doing is he's giving himself an out, plausible deniability to say, well, hey, I'm not going to piss off the boss. I'm not going to piss off the most powerful man in the country, even though Bill Barr has said several times he's the village fucking idiot. But what he's doing is he's insulating himself and giving himself an out. Donald Trump isn't just in the Epstein files, and I say this over and over and over again. Donald Trump is the Epstein files, along with Jeffrey Epstein, along with Ghislaine Maxwell. So don't for a second believe any of the rhetoric. Believe the actions, not the words. Believe what you see and not the verbiage that comes out of any maggot's mouth, especially this week when it comes to the Epstein files.
Yeah, if we don't get the actual files, we don't get everything, then this whole thing is suspect. So whatever they give us just redacted bits or give us things that are just, selected, readings from the FBI files.
Yeah.
It's not worth anyone's time to even spend any time on. Because unless we have the whole thing, we're never going to get to know the whole story. Because, I have a good sense of what the story looks like. I mean, in The Greatest Heist, I go through this all. I go through 4 decades of crimes that both Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are so suspiciously close to that they're somehow involved. And today we break it down even further. I mean, maybe they're waiting for my story to drop before they issue the files because so much of the file stuff is in tomorrow's stories, in today's story. This stuff that I'm reporting on is available out there publicly. It's not the first time I'm reporting this information. It's never been put together in this way. But, they've had it in their files. They've had it in their files for a long time because either the FBI wasn't doing their job for the last 4 decades, or they were doing their jobs but keeping it quiet for intelligence reasons, which is, in fact, what they said they did with Jeffrey Epstein and also with Donald Trump.
Mhm.
These guys were involved in a massive operation, whether they knew it or not. And certainly in Donald Trump's case, there's some question about whether they were actually smart enough to have realized that he was in an operation. But in Epstein's case, for sure, he knew he was in an operation. This is what they did for 4 decades. They deliberately went after America. They deliberately tried to collapse the economic system that we have, the capitalist system we have. They deliberately tried to blackmail all these politicians. They deliberately put all these thousands of kids, or 1,000 kids, in positions that were, compromising. And some of them, we just don't know what even happened to them.
Yeah.
And by the way, a significant number, as you've pointed out before, maybe a fifth of them, boys. These are not just girls that were being part of this human trafficking ring. We don't really know how that all panned out, and there's very little information about that. So that's the kind of information I'm hoping we get from these FBI files when they're released, because I have a lot of questions that need answering as to how this ring got started. How was it ignored for 4 decades? How could we allow this criminal activity, this blackmailing of people using underage kids to go on for decade after decade?
Yeah.
And how could we allow foreign intelligence services, 2 of them, to do this with the CIA apparently knowing all of this for all this time?
And that's the interesting part here is that if you remove the hatred for Donald Trump, the Trump regime, his cackerstocracy, the people that are rumored to be caught up in it, different governments, if you remove all that stuff and just focus on the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was given a sweetheart deal by a former CIA operative, Alex Acosta. someone who was deeply involved in politics, deeply involved in law enforcement in the United States, back when he was in Florida. If you remember that deal, he got weekends. Yeah, you plead guilty to prostitution. Decades of child rape, decades of pedophilia, decades of human trafficking. I just give you a prostitution charge. Is because guys like him, Jeffrey Epstein, and I'll throw Puff Daddy onto the pile too. They are so well connected. They know so many people. They have compromised so many individuals that they're no longer, if you're the CIA, you don't look at guys like Epstein or Puff Daddy or, Elon Musk like they're really rich, successful stars, studs, investment guys, tech dudes, geniuses. The CIA looks at those people like, we can get messages to them and we can get them to give us information while they're working for other people. So they're basically made men. They're minted. And the CIA,
Bezos.
yes, Jeff Bezos is one of them. Elon Musk is one of them. Why do you think certain people are allowed to go to and from? Why do you think so many people have different rules that you play with? And all of those people seem to have billions of dollars or
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars, and they all know the same people. It's because the CIA, CSIS is no different here in Canada. They look at these hardened criminals or double agents like if we can get on the inside with that person, we can compromise what they know and we can get information for us that we can use for our national security. We can co-opt them to do the job that they're doing for other people for us, and we can get this free flow of information back, and we can really fuck things up in other countries. So don't think this just goes one way. Don't think that America was attacked, because yes, America was attacked, but the CIA willingly, through several presidents, several Democratic presidents, Republican presidents, absolutely lived under the umbrella of influence of guys like Jeffrey Epstein. So when you talk about what's coming out, and there's a point in me telling you this, when you talk about what might come out on Friday in these unredacted or redacted Epstein files, just know that for decade upon decade upon decade, there are names associated with these files that make America look fucking terrible. Not just
Mhm.
America, Russia, Israel, certain celebrities and elites, for sure, judges, world leaders, record executives. It's all Donald Trump. It's all there. But caught up in that is, the co-opting of an operation of guys like Jeffrey Epstein that America used, allowing this child trafficking ring to continue to perpetrate itself over several decades. So really important to remember that as well when you go down the road of looking for justice, is that I don't think America will let you have it.
And the story about Donald Trump that I'm putting out today looks at how he was constructed into one of these, these kinds of master figures. He's sort of, I'll call him a super spy, but he's not really, because he was an asset. But this guy was constructed by the Russian mob, by the KGB over 12 years. He was made into someone who was so susceptible to Russian influence and to Russian money that he became just almost like a Trojan horse that attacked America, and through him, all this money came pouring in, all this dirty money out of Russia, $50 billion, as much as that was left the Soviet Union at the end of the Soviet Union, for this exact purpose, to get into the West's capital system. And Donald Trump was the perfect conduit for that to happen. So, here's an American, widely liked by a lot of people, who was constructed into something else. He became a mobster, into a intelligence figure, into an asset
I
for
think
the
it's hilarious that
KGB.
you called Donald Trump an intelligence figure.
I know. And you don't think I said intelligent, right? What's the other thing that shows up in all of these things is how, he ain't smart, the guy.
No.
Um,
No,
so,
and you know what? They're starting I got a piece about it. The White House is starting to panic over the fact that he's
yeah.
not that smart, because when you're not smart and dementia starts to creep in and you're sickly, you start saying the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah.
Like yesterday when he's like, "I'm getting rid of fucking mail-in voting and I'm going to do away with the Smartmatic machines because it's way easier to steal an election than redistricting. It'll be way easier." And
Way
behind
easier.
the scenes, the White House is like, "What are you doing, dude? You're giving away the secrets." Like, stop it.
He did do that, didn't he? I
He
totally did.
totally did that yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, but the point is that yes, the CIA got and America got screwed. The reason why Putin walks out there with that grin on his face that you just can't wipe off no matter what, and whether it's Putin or Putin 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever they are, is because he knows that he's screwed America. He knows exactly what they've done over 5 decades to screw America, to screw capitalism by turning these guys like Donald Trump with no ethics and no morality into exactly what they are and made them, work against the American system instead of working for the American system. And has shown them to be exactly who they are, traitors. Talk about treason. These guys have committed treason. And so this is where we're at, where America's, entire system hangs in the balance. Our entire ability to be an independent country, our entire ability to have our own foreign policy has been squandered away by this loser, Donald Trump, who currently inhabits the White House. That was a construction of Vladimir Putin and his KGB cronies for so
Mhm.
many years. So that's who he was standing next to at that summit last Friday, was his construction. And that's why he doesn't give a shit what Donald Trump says. That's why
No.
he'll start the press conference and not listen to a word that Trump says, because he knows he is in charge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why selling out Ukraine, bringing EU leaders, which he didn't do, by the way, they forced their way into that room with
Yeah.
Zelensky to give him backup. But that's why he can sit there and lie to their faces on television and on camera and then leave the meeting, call Vladimir Putin for 20 minutes, come back and go, all right, game's changed. I'll call you guys later. It's all good. Yeah, because he is 100% beholden to Vladimir Putin, 1,000% beholden to the KGB and the FSB, who made his life possible over the past 25 to 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money on this guy. Every time he went bankrupt, he
It's
always had
fucking
this
sweet ROI, though. I mean, you only
yeah,
pumped like $6 billion into the guy, and you got to control the United States of America. That is a
yeah.
sweet
No, it's a
return on
smart move,
investment.
and it's also patient. I mean, they've been doing this for 40 years. It started in 1976. That's when this policy began of them trying to use the KGB to influence capitalism. 80% of the KGB workforce after 76 was designed only to attack America's economic system. 80%. And so they worked on people like Donald Trump. They found him, they groomed him, they made him into who he is today. And it took 12 years to get that operation of him being sort of cultivated into someone that they trusted as an asset.
Mhm.
But once he was there, he was baked in, and he was so corrupted, there's not a way he could have gotten out. And still
No.
today, he can't
Yeah.
get out.
No, he can't, and it's painfully evident every time he does anything. I mean, even from that walk on the red carpet to
Yeah.
walking back yesterday's security guarantees this morning, blaming Ukraine again for being invaded. I mean, it's truly fucking remarkable. It really,
Yeah, I mean,
really is.
we'll get to this story about Ukraine and the meeting yesterday a little later in the show, but there's lots to discuss there. But in the meantime, this is no story number 4, because this is a fascinating story. It comes from deanblundell.substack.com. Maine State Senator Joseph Martin sent 4-page letters to elected officials across Western Canada this week, inviting British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba to secede from Canada and join the United States. The correspondence promises expanded gun rights, yay, elimination of bilingual government requirements, and implementation of what Martin calls a Christian moral order.
Yes.
This is your story. So what's going on, Dean? This is
Um,
bad.
it's not good, but it is as low rent as you would think a sitting state senator from Maine, with absolutely no profile, who everybody was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" That he would send over 900 elected politicians in 4 different provinces, begging them to come and join One Nation Under God. His name is Senator Joseph E. Martin. He looks like he's got a few heads in the freezer, and if you walked by a school, you'd check him for a fucking restraining order, number one. He is a hardcore Christian nationalist, and he sent a letter to elected officials in Canada, federal and provincial. Let me read some of it to you. A vision for welcoming Western Canada into the United States. Now, little secret here, which isn't really a secret, the province of Alberta is going through a referendum, an effort to hold a referendum, because there are certain stupid fucking hillbillies in that province who are absolutely captured by MAGA, who seem to think that they want to join a police state, who seem to think that they'd like to become a state. Like and it happens all the time. The bleed in from America, that faux freedom that they think they're walking into when they've got the freest life of any country in the world here in Canada. So you've got that. That's kind of hot in Alberta right now. We've talked about it a few times, but we haven't really delved into it. Keep in mind this is a province that is he's got the poorest education record. It's one of the most rural provinces in the world, and it is oil rich, right? Very, very oil rich, very rich in minerals and energy. So he sends this letter. The strength of the United States and its fidelity to the Constitution, its emphasis on national sovereignty, and roots in Western civilization. Well, a little dog whistle for white guys.
Yeah, Western civilization
Christianity,
for sure.
yeah, Christianity and personal responsibility. These principles are not negotiable, and they must be the foundation of any expansion of the Union. If Canadian provinces of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba were able to seek admission to the United States, it must be as full American states, not provinces with conditions or dual allegiance. It must be full. They would come into the fold by the consent of their people and the invitation of a constitutionally guided republic. There would be no hybrid governance, no special cultural carve outs, a path forward. So, like, fuck you in your culture. If you're coming to the States, you leave everything behind, is what he's saying. The path forward would not be about convenience or economic expansion alone, but about the reaffirmation of liberty, state sovereignty, and national identity. A union of this kind would not dilute the American experiment. It would strengthen it, fortify it, and renew it with citizens who have a consciously chosen Americanism over Canadian federalism. I don't even know what that means. This would not be annexation. It would be adoption. It wants to adopt these 4 Western provinces. How nice is that?
It's very nice of
Welcoming
them.
home kindred spirits who were born under a different flag but desire to live under a constitution and accept our responsibilities, our customs, and our tradition. He then goes into the Constitution, terms of union, not suggestions, and admission of new states must be governed strictly by the United States Constitution, the same one maggots like him and Donald Trump are currently taking a big dump all over, by the way. Just let me
Yeah.
point that out. Prospective states would need to dismantle their provincial governments, currently constructed, abandon the Canadian legal code, and adopt American jurisprudence in full. This is a threat. This is a threat letter, by the way. It's not like a, hey, why don't you come and join us? It's like, we'll accept you if you join one nation under God. This is what you have to do. Bill of Rights of Freedom, not bureaucratic permission, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Let me just get to the end. And it's just, it's a 4-page note. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's the end is truly absolutely fucking remarkable. We are willing, if you're willing to discard Canadian political loyalty and embrace constitutional governance, then we should welcome you. That's what he says. But that welcome comes with expectations. You must disband your crown institutions, rewrite your constitution with American principles, and prepare your courts, schools, and communities for integration into a society governed not by parliament or privilege, but by the people and the law. There will be a transition period, practical complexities, and political resistance, but none of those are excuses for ignoring the possibility. The harder the journey, the greater the reward. And for millions of people currently frustrated by central authority, moral decay, and the bureaucratic suffocation, the reward is liberty. This guy is writing this, saying you'll be more free, you'll have more liberty, your decaying government sucks, from a country that just rolled back basic human rights to zero. They're disappearing tens of thousands of people from the street.
Yeah.
They're building concentration camps all over the United States of America. The president is a rapist and a pedophile who is convicted of 34 crimes, and he's just weaponized the law and the Constitution, or he's completely fucking ignoring it so he can go after black people in black cities and migrants who don't look this white. This whole thing is about telling Canadians, we'll welcome all your whiteys. Leave everybody else behind and come here because, as he says, true conservatives are not expansionists for expansion's sake. We do not believe in absorbing the world, but we do believe in a country worth protecting and where possible worth expanding. Only if it strengthens our traditions, deepens our values, and honors our Constitution. If the people of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are ready to stand beside us, not as neighbors or trade partners, but as citizens, let us raise the flag in Canada, the U.S. flag. Sign the compacts and welcome them into a family worth defending, but let there be no illusions. You want to join this union, you leave the other behind. You cannot serve 2 flags. You cannot straddle 2 systems. Keep in mind, no one's asked him. He's just saying this. In this vision, we offer not just roads, markets, or security. We offer something rarer, a chance to be the last best hope on earth. A nation under God, conceived in liberty and dedicated for the proposition that all white men are created equal. That is the invitation. The welcome mat is out. Senator Joseph E. Martin, let me be the very first Canadian to tell you to your face, go fuck yourself. To take a page out of Elon Musk's book,
Yeah.
we're not scared of a sitting state senator who looks like I said earlier, that he's just been arrested for walking too close to a daycare yet again. We're not interested in your God driven bullshit. We are a secular country. 65% of people in this country not only abhor religion, we don't identify with it, nor do we practice it. So we're one nation under Canada. We're one nation under empathy. We're one nation under the Charter of Basic Rights and fucking Freedoms, which says your freedom to do that is treason. If that is here, and by the way, let me put Pete Hoekstra, the Canadian ambassador, on fucking notice right now, too. I'm flowing here. Just let me finish. Pete Hoekstra has been, if not paying, contacting right-wing bullshit artists like Jasmine Lyonnais to do interviews. He's the fucking ambassador to Canada who got kicked out of Amsterdam, got kicked out of Holland for trying to organize alt-right protests with the alt-right guy in Holland. His name is Gert Wilder, I think his name is.
Yeah, yeah.
He was removed. And Donald Trump named, and he's this Dutch reform psycho religious maggot who spent last week going on shows like this Botox-headed Jasmine Lyonnais show, talking about how Canada's been too mean to us. They're the ones that really started this trade war. It's totally unfair and something needs to be done. Follow that up with this letter from the state senator in Maine, begging 900 duly elected Canadian politicians to commit treason. This isn't a coincidence. They know that Canada is bulletproof to their horseshit, and they're fucking throwing everything they can at the wall to make us look bad, to invite maple maggots and other hillbillies that identify with that Jesus Christ-laden bullshit into the United States so that they can cause chaos. It's KGB compromat playbook bullshit 101. And Mr. Martin, I speak for the rest of this country, a solid 40 million, when I say go fuck yourself, truly and deeply.
Well said, Dean. I mean, look, this state senator, Mr. Martin, is he's obviously deluded into thinking that people actually want to be part of the United States right now. There's no human being on the planet who is currently seeking out life in the United States right now. Maybe some South African apartheid, adherents. But most people do not want to live under Donald Trump because Donald Trump represents everything that they despise in the world. So
He's an authoritarian.
he's an
We can see it.
authoritarian and he's terrifying the entire planet. I mean, this is the one person who's causing chaos. Every European leader flew to DC like in a minute's notice just to try and calm a situation because yet again, Donald Trump looked like he was going to inflame the situation again that could lead us into World War III. The United States is not looked at right now as a responsible beacon of anything in the world, and he's actually the opposite. He's causing chaos around the world. But to your other point, this is not coincidence that they're doing this. This is a full-on disinformation campaign targeted at Canada. And while it's easy to dismiss as being stupid and he's just a charlatan and what does he know, the truth of it is there is a very comprehensive disinformation campaign targeted at Canada. And you see it everywhere. You see it in the subtle critiques of Carney that come out of left field. You also see this constant I hear it from my dad sometimes. Because he'll listen to some of these things, and then suddenly I'll come up and he'll say, "Well, what about the car sector? And Canada's finished," and we'll say all things like that, which I know he's picking up from the zeitgeist. Hi, Dad, by the way. I know you watch.
Hi, Dad.
But he's picking up from the zeitgeist, and I can say to him, "Hey, Dad, this isn't true. This isn't probably not true. I can almost guarantee you it's disinformation." But as with anyone who's getting disinformation targeted at them, it's hard sometimes to differentiate between one and the other. And my dad's brilliant and smart, and I'm not judging any of that. But I will say that there's just I feel like there's an undercurrent of disinformation happening in this country, and it's a little bit scary. So as much as all of this is a joke, and as much as all of this is, and the ambassador's a joke, and his appearances and all these things, Combined, there is an attempt to wear away
Yeah.
at Canada's resolve
Yep.
against Donald Trump, to wear away at our resolve and our commitment to our charters and our freedoms, as you point out, and to wear away at our commitment to fight this tyrant.
Mhm.
Because it is a big thing that Canada's done. Canada is standing up to Donald Trump. It's unique in the world in that way. And yes, we're a tiny country compared to Donald Trump and the United States. So, the fact that we're standing up to the big elephant next to us is a big deal. And it's easy to sort of create doubt in people's minds as to what's happening. But the truth of it is, it's happening that doubt is being spread, not because it's real doubt, that doubt is being spread by disinformation.
Sure.
This is a classic campaign
Yeah.
by the Kremlin, by MAGA, by everybody to try and erode Carney's support so they can get, Pierre Poilievre back in power or whoever that'll be more amenable to them.
Yeah. No, well said. And I think that underscores the importance of the people who are in this room, the several hundred people who are sitting here watching this with right now that share our content, that share our perspective. There's so many beautiful comments in there from the United States of America right in our chat over and over and over again. Wish I could move there, but it's pretty damn cold. You're right. It is cold. It's incredibly cold for a solid 4 months of the year.
It's
But
4,
you,
6.
solid 6, solid 4 on the outside, 6 on either end of the 4. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it underscores the importance of sharing this information, subscribing, hitting that little button at the bottom, hitting those hearts, sharing conversations like this, because that's not a story that is anywhere in the United States. Pete Hoekstra's continual disinformation attacks on Canada. He should be fucking expelled, by the way.
He really
He's
should. I mean,
engaging
he's an
in foreign
ambassador to the United
interference.
States, and
He's
he's spreading
garbage.
disinformation.
He's a liver
know
spotted asshole. He
Yeah.
needs to go. And he's not just spreading disinformation, he's creating it, and then he's challenging other people to share it based on his mantle of being an ambassador. But when you look under the hood of who Pete Hoekstra is, he is a MAGA operative who is sent here for one purpose only, to disrupt Canadians' way of life, to introduce an alternative reality. That's what this dickhead in Maine is doing too. He's trying to tell people, oh my God, you come here. And that, by the way, that'll speak to some people.
Yeah.
One nation under God.
course.
You get the right religious zealot, which, by the way, Canada should amend its laws and constitution to be able to prevent religious zealots like Pete Hoekstra or anybody that would identify with that letter in any province from running for office. Religious zealots should never be near levers of power ever, ever, ever when it comes to the entire population or governing anybody ever. But that's what this is. And to your point, it is an operation. And that operation works in tandem with the KGB. That operation works in tandem with the Chinese Communist Party. Any way that they can insert chaos, bullshit, lies, and disinformation, any way they can hurt Mark Carney's incredible popularity. I think he's up like 15 points on Pierre Poilievre, and we'll get to him in just a second as well. And it doesn't matter because he's going to be in office forever until the nation building is done, because the entire country knows that is a real dude. The entire country is lined up behind him. Doesn't matter who you voted for. You fucking love Mark Carney because he's a legit dude. He's a man. And there are no other options in this country. So Canadians, stay focused. Don't get distracted. Anytime some maggot tells you that Canada is a tyrannical society and you need to come to the United States, blow it off, delete it. And if you have someone send it to you, delete them from your fucking address book at the same time. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, it is really bullshit, but I'm going to look into this man, Mr. Martin, because, there's got to be some, every time I've done one of these investigations, you got to know that there's a Russian bank account, there's some sort of money trail that leads into these guys, because they're not just, he didn't wake up yesterday morning and decide to write a letter to these provinces. He was instructed to do so by someone who said, this is going to make sense because it's going to help weaken some of the resolve in these provinces that aren't as supportive of Carney as the others.
Yep.
So, there's something there. He's being instructed, hinted at, he's being paid to, whatever it is, there's something making him do that. It's not just, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make sense that way. The number 2 story on the countdown with number 3.
I think it's 3, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
number
we got to
3.
get through this quickly. The Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into whether Washington, D.C. police manipulated crime statistics to show artificial decreases in violent crime. The probe extends beyond Commander Michael Pulliam, who was placed on leave in May to examine other local officials' potential involvement. So President Trump confirmed the investigation on social media Monday, claiming that DC provided fake crime numbers to create a false illusion of safety. The investigation intensifies tensions between federal and local authorities as Trump pushes for federal control of DC law enforcement. If you don't like the numbers, just change them, apparently. So now he'll do a criminal investigation into what DC has been doing. And maybe he'll find numbers that are true. I don't know. But this sounds like another, witch hunt
Yeah, it is.
on
It
Trump
is,
parts.
and we can rip through this,
Yeah.
and I'll just kind of give you Cole's notes. There's a video today from Union Station, train station in Washington D.C., of police lining people up that were dropping off loved ones to run into the train, searching cars illegally, and checkpoints set up all around the city, specifically in the poorest, blackest, or Hispanic neighborhoods. Right, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And the idea that Donald Trump is telling the truth when Metro Police are not is laughable. It's fucking laughable. It's just another arrow in his quiver that he wants to take out and fire into the democracy, which is the United States of America, which is self-determination of each state, specifically DC. So don't fall for it. It's a lie. Everything that he is a pathological fucking liar. Just remember that every time you read something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what worries me about this whole story, about the DC story, is this homeless strategy that they have of potentially moving people into these homeless camps, these concentration camps that are basically geared for homeless people, have, rudimentary kind of facilities. You go and you live under tents or whatever, not in anywhere you'd want to be, like it's in cheaper land far away from the center of every city.
Yeah.
This at first I was like, well, it's a solution. I guess it's a solution. But the reality of it is they're so indiscriminate in the way they're cleaning up these areas. They don't really give a shit whether they're picking up people who need help, who need, who are there for other reasons, who knows why people end up homeless. Being homeless is a very complex thing, and homelessness is a complex thing. So the idea that Donald Trump has it in his mind to beautify DC by clearing out all these homeless people and putting them into camps actually sends shivers down my spine, because that could be anybody. It could be you, it could be me, it could be your neighbor who gets a bad month or two and is suddenly homeless, and suddenly they're in a homeless camp. How do they get out of there?
Yeah,
What happens to them?
It's a great question, and Pete Hegseth was asked about that when he's like, "You're rounding all these people up, using the military against them, but where are you sending them?" That's not my lane. I don't have to worry about that. Like, it just flippantly. People who are on the streets and either use drugs or alcohol or live on the streets because they have incredible trauma, PTSD. They don't trust anybody. They're ill. They're unwell, and they need help. They don't need to be put in a concentration camp. They don't need to be thrown in jail. They need counseling. They need a warm place to sleep. They need a bite to eat. They need someone to help them understand and undo trauma, right? That's every person that has addiction. Every single misplaced person is misplaced or unhoused because of trauma. So for him to do that to these people is just, it's not cleaning anything up. It's making everything for human beings that he plans on kettling significantly worse. And again, worth remembering where that trauma comes from. So, yeah.
Good point. Pierre Poilievre has won his by-election in Alberta's Battle River Crowfoot riding with 80.4% of the vote Monday. So he gets to get back to Parliament as an MP. This is after he lost his Ottawa area Carleton seat to Liberal Bruce Fanjoy in the recent federal election. So he's still an MP now. We're not surprised, are we?
No, not surprised at all. But let me educate our American friends. And I actually went and looked at, I never do this. I went and looked at my settings today to see where the audience of subscribers comes from. 2/3 comes from the United States. So let me just take my American friends, my Canadian friends will understand this, my American friends, through what happened. Pierre Poilievre is the parasite version of Donald Trump. And Pierre Poilievre led a parallel campaign for 3 years to Donald Trump. Populist, hate-filled, anti-trans, anti-gay, fuck the experts, let's get some Bitcoin going, bullshit. And Justin Trudeau was universally hated here in Canada for a long time. He wore out his welcome, so he stepped down. Mark Carney arrived. He didn't even fucking arrive. Justin Trudeau just left. Pierre Poilievre, who was given a seat in Carleton as an MP, as a 23-year-old, this is in Ottawa, has been in office for 20 years, has done absolutely nothing to make Canada better. He has voted against gay rights, gay marriage, equal rights. He has voted against bills to help Indigenous people realize industry on reservations across this country. He has vilified them, said they don't know the value of great work. He is Donald Trump if Donald Trump was a lot younger and more of a fucking incel in a suit that's way too tight.
Yeah.
He's like
Good
Stephen
description.
Miller. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
Stephen Miller. It's like it's exact a cross between those two. So he loses the election in spectacular fashion when Mark Carney's meteoric rise to power showed up. Because Mark Carney has his doctorate in economics. He's the governor of two different country banks, one in Canada, one in England, Bank of England, Bank of Canada. He's a fucking real deal. The rumor of him showing up destroyed Pierre Poilievre's career, destroyed it to the point where some dude named Bruce, who ran for the Liberal Party, who ran against Pierre Poilievre, cleaned his fucking clock in his own riding. Now, that would be like your jurisdiction and a guy like Ted Cruz losing to some up-and-comer just because everybody's like, fuck, we hate Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
So he lost his job, lost his riding, lives in a taxpayer-funded mansion here in Canada like the vice president does in the United States or the leader of the official opposition does. And he gets everything paid for because he's the leader of the opposition. The mansion's is called Stornoway. It costs about $70,000 a month to take up. This, keep in mind, he's never had a day job. He's never had a real job. So he loses his job, desperate to get his taxpayer-funded lifestyle back. He runs from Ottawa to this tiny fucking little community, redneck community in Alberta that is technically and analytically the safest seat for conservatives, where the guy there, his name's Damian Kurek, won with 84.5% of the popular vote in our recent election. So they bribe him, give him a job at a consultancy, as you do, for 6 figures, call a by-election, he runs, and he wins with 80%, 5% less than the guy who just handed over his seat. 5% less. So it's and by the way, 7,000 fewer people voted in this election.
Oh wow! So people
because
not
they're
that
like,
fans.
this sucks. We hate it. So he didn't win. He didn't run a campaign. He was gifted a seat in Parliament so he can go back to being PP the Pigeon, where he jumps around and acts like a fucking populist lunatic, and he mocks trans people and gay people, and he gaslights everybody. And the first thing he did, he and his wife put out basically a threat on social media to anybody who wasn't their friend during this period where the Poilievres went through a hard time. Then he put out a fundraising tweet calling his win the biggest win in Canadian election history. Who the fuck does that sound like?
Sounds like Donald Trump, but I'll tell you something. It used to be that politicians, when they lost elections, and the leaders of parties, when they lost elections, they'd actually go away. They'd retire. They'd do something. In this case, the guy lost so spectacularly, and he's still the leader of the opposition. It's like
he had a 30-point lead 4 months before the election.
Yeah, he squandered it completely. He was completely trounced by Carney. He's completely killed by Carney. Who also did it in a quick amount of time. Remember, the elections were basically like,
2 months, dude.
It was 2 months. So this guy is PT.
Yeah,
his career is gonna continue to go down. But I like the fact that they issued a threat to everyone who wasn't nice to him.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. He and his ridiculous wife. They're she runs his merch, by the way, so she needs to go back to making some money. Yeah.
Well, at least he's back in Parliament, so it'll give us hours of amusement. President Trump definitively ruled out deploying U.S. ground troops to Ukraine. This is the number one story, while committing to provide air support as part of a post-war security arrangement. Speaking on Fox News this morning, Trump indicated that European nations would provide would provide ground forces while America would coordinate and assist by air, because there's nobody that has the kind of stuff we have, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So if you can follow the puck, because the puck keeps moving.
Good
one day Donald
sports
Trump
reference, dude. Way to go! I'm really proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you. I try. It's a hockey reference.
Yeah, it is. Sure is. Yeah.
Well done. This guy is. Yeah. Friday he was insistent on a ceasefire. Yesterday he was insistent on security guarantees. Today and also suggesting that American troops would be on the ground in Ukraine. Now he's not so cool about that anymore. He thinks that there's going to be air cover that they're going to do. that maybe they'll do if the Europeans are on the ground. And then, he'll wait until he has a meeting with Putin and
In 2 weeks.
in
Yeah.
2 weeks, which will never happen. Between these two guys who don't want to talk to each other. Well, Putin doesn't want to talk to Zelensky. And so this is American foreign policy for Ukraine and the world. This is like 5 days, 2 weeks of our news time, 5 days of our attention as we're all trying to figure out what the next move is going to be.
Yeah.
He got screwed by Zelensky. He got screwed by the Europeans who came in and showed him how things are done. And now his approval ratings going to continue to tank. He gets nothing out of this. And his Ukrainian policies seems to have withered away.
Good place to finish the podcast on yet another bait and switch by a man who has, morally flexible is a nice way to say it.
Yeah.
He is bereft of any moral compass. He will tell anybody, Donald Trump will tell anybody in front of them exactly what they want to hear. And then as soon as they leave the room, he changes the fucking game. That's exactly what Donald Trump does. He's made a career out of doing that. He has made a real estate career out of doing that. He's made a political career out of doing that. He never had any intention of negotiating in good faith yesterday with those EU leaders who barged their way into the White House. They were not invited, which, by the way, Donald Trump is being celebrated for, bringing the most world. Yeah, look at this. Look at all I did. Yeah. They barged into the meeting to protect Zelensky from what they knew was going to happen, and he made them wait outside in the hallway while he met one-on-one with Zelensky, said, basically, you're going to have to give away land. We might do security guarantees, but you're going to have to give away land. Zelensky said there's no way that's happening. And then they go and meet with all of these EU leaders. And I don't know if you've seen the video of Donald Trump looking for the president or the prime minister of Finland going, oh, where is he? And the president of Finland's right across from him going, oh, yeah, I'm right here. Like right across from you. Right here. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm going to put out a post about it today. It's beautiful because he is not just in decline, but he is still the cretin that you knew he was. Yeah. So yesterday, the narrative out of the meeting at the White House with Zelensky and these EU leaders was, what a coup. He's flipped. Donald Trump is now open to the idea of putting boots on the ground and guaranteeing Ukraine's security, saying, yeah, too many Ukrainians have died. We got to help. We got to do all these things. 12 hours later, he goes on Fox News, blames Zelensky, blames him for starting the war. You should never start a war with a country 10 times your size. That's what he says. Yeah. Then he walks back absolutely everything he committed to with these EU leaders yesterday, who took literally an emergency meeting, flew across the world to go and support because they thought they would have a real meeting with real intentions. And he sold them all out again today. If you were ever under the impression that Donald Trump wasn't helping Vladimir Putin, any illusion should be dissipated by now. Any illusion that he is not firmly compromised, not firmly in Putin's pocket after yesterday's distraction-filled debacle, the week we're supposed to get the fucking Epstein files, the week he's ramping up search and seizures of black people, brown people, Hispanic people, the week he's planning on putting another National Guard force and CPB and ICE agents into New York and Chicago. If there was any illusion that he wasn't firmly on Team Putin, it was erased yet again today. So make sure you follow the puck, as my friend Zev says.
That is very, very astute of you to say. But also let me say one other thing. It's really worrying that he is so inept. I mean, it's one thing if he was just following the Putin line and you were like, okay, well, it's following the Putin line. But his ability to handle these situations, his ability to negotiate with all these leaders, his ability to handle the room, to be the boss in the room is completely vacant. Like he's not able to do it.
No.
He can't navigate all these complex issues.
No, he can't
understand what Donald Trump, what Putin really wants. And he's got a bunch of people. He doesn't have any empathy for anybody. So how could he understand what Ukrainians want?
Yeah.
And he just doesn't get it. And that's what really is the problem here. He's completely inept. He's not functioning as a normal president would, as any functioning person would. He's just not capable of doing the gig.
No, and he's not capable of keeping track of who's in front of him. He's not capable of finishing fucking sentences. And they're sending this dotard to go and solve the world's biggest issues. Like his dementia and his decline. I'm putting out a piece in a minute.
Yeah.
At deanblundell.substack.com. about his decline and how the White House is literally panicking at the moment.
Mhm.
Because yesterday, the visuals and the optics, which are the only thing that matter to the Trump regime, right? They don't do anything based on merit. They make up merit and then they go and do it, and then they deliver the optics and the
Yeah.
narrative and the visuals, and you got to buy it. You got to eat it. You got to suck on it. And Donald Trump was so out of it at times yesterday that he literally gave up his election reform strategy in the middle of his meeting with Vladimir
Yeah.
Zelensky, which scared the shit out of Susie Wiles, where he's like, yeah, we're going to get rid of mail-in voting, Smartmatic, Dominion machines, the paper ballots. You got to go paper ballots. I want you to go and Google paper ballots Russia. How he sends these KGB agents to stuff ballot boxes all around Russia and it's only paper or it's like rigged machines that
Yeah.
Putin has complete control of. This is just another effort to steal the 2026 midterm elections. And they were hoping that he could make it through a week where he didn't tell everybody what his plan is, when he absolutely said this is going to be way easier than redistricting to steal the election.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably don't tell him what he has to do every week because they're scared he's going to reveal it, and as he did yesterday during that press conference. But it's, the guy is not doing the United States any favors right now. He's not doing the job. He's not doing
America
the
looks.
job.
This is exactly what they wanted. This dude. This
What,
looks
an
so good
inept
on
president that
America.
doesn't
Yeah,
can't negotiate a paper
yeah.
bag? Like, I
Well,
mean, it's like,
did he get elected?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, there you go. He got elected, and this is what you voted for. You thought he's at 80 years old. And by the way, his health is far worse
yeah,
than venous insufficiency. They
yeah,
admitted to venous insufficiency. Donald Trump is going through early stage dementia, which is now late stage, and he's got congestive heart failure, and he cannot manage a fucking meeting. He
yeah,
cannot manage being in front of the camera without trailing off and fucking up. And that's why those leaders showed up yesterday. Because when you have dementia and you're that dumb, you revert back to the meanest, dumbest parts of who you are. Let me just give you one thing and I'll let you go. I love my grandmother. Wonderful lady, 92. She's got severe dementia. A couple months ago, we took her and put her in a really nice facility where we could keep her safe. And, she's got lots of visitors. She's doing great. But for a solid, year, she became really mean, like really mean because of the dementia.
yeah.
And she couldn't remember things.
Yeah.
And when I watched Donald Trump trying to address the Finnish president yesterday, he reminded me of my grandma looking around going, where are you? Like it was carbon copy. And if anybody has an elderly relative that has dementia, someone who's sick, someone who's unwell, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We've all been through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we have a huge issue on our hands, and that is Donald Trump's well-being, amongst many others. That is the FiveStack today. I'm losing my voice, but it's time to go, Dean.
Buddy, thanks for doing this. Everybody, listen, follow my friend Zev Shalev. Go to narrative.org. His greatest heist series. I believe it's part 7 comes
Part
out.
7 comes out today, and it's good. It's good. It's all about Trump. It's all about Trump and how he became a KGB asset. And I've got the receipts. I'll show you exactly what happened, how he landed up becoming a KGB asset, the 12-year cultivation process that resulted in this guy who's now the president of the United States, for better or for worse. So that's at narrative.org. And at deanblundell.substack.com, all the great stories you saw today, well, many of them came from Dean Blundell's Substack today.
Yeah, you can go read Senator Martin's full letter there, where you can have a good laugh at it. And I've got another piece coming out probably in the next hour that lets you into the White House panic. I had a conversation with some sources today. We're going to put that out so you can kind of understand, how sick this man is and how worried his Trump regime handlers are, because the cheese is off the cracker, if you will. So 50% off our annual subscriptions until the end of the month. Your support means the world to us, paid or free. Please share this content as much as widely as you can so people can affirm the fact that they're not crazy and what they're seeing is bad. That's how we stay together. That's how we build the resistance. Please follow both of us. We'd really appreciate it. And you'll get unlimited access for 50% off for the entire year. And that price will never go up. Ever, 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 by the way.
And how about this for Friday? If we actually get any of these FBI documents, why don't we commit to sit and read them? We'll go through them all, whatever they give us. We will go. I will go through them all if you don't want to join
Okay.
me. Or if you,
No,
yeah,
dude.
let's
Yeah,
go.
I'm
I think let's go.
100% in.
Let's
Little
go
Q&A
page
with
by
people.
page,
Yeah.
and and just see what the hell they're going to give us, what they're not going to give us. I am dying to find out.
Let's do
So
Q&A for paid. Let's just do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
we'll
good
do that. We'll
idea.
do the Epstein thing for paid. And so if you're a paid
Oh,
subscriber,
that's
yeah,
a good idea.
just reward those people for sticking with us. And if
Yeah,
you're not, it's never been easier to do so. But we'll do live Q&A with the Epstein documents on Friday. We'll announce a time either on my feed or Zeb's feed. And appreciate you being here, my dear friend. Always great to do this with you.
likewise. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, guys.